together with Going Batty, and I have the crew here today, plus one who's doing dishes. We are going to be making, what is it? Four
cheese sausage rigatoni.
So yeah, Miles with his gloves, he's got dishes going on. So this is going to be a family doing. We're going to work together to get dinner done tonight. So yeah.
Yeah. We're all in this together.
Alrighty, so we got Katie, and she is browning our Italian sausage. And then if you look here, we have these jars here are actually some tomato sauce that I did, and it's kind of thin, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some Thrive tomato powder in with it to thicken it up a bit. But she's putting the garlic in now, and then she also has was it peppers and onions that you're going to saute in with the sausage.
Yes.
And then what's that there on the back?
That is my no-knead garlic rosemary bread.
Yes.
And we're going to have that tonight, too.
And we do have a video on that she did. It's one of our earlier videos that we did.
Yeah.
So she's going ahead and going to dump all that stuff in there. And we're going to brown the sausage, the garlic, the onions, and the peppers all together. All right, so we are going to start by putting a little bit of olive oil in the bottom of our pan. And what we're going to do is we're going to put our spices in first, and let that oil permeate the spices and help them bring out the flavor in them more. So we have some Italian seasoning here, and I always like rub it in my hand to kind of break it up. All right, and then we're gonna put a few red pepper flakes in here. Oops, just a few, not a lot, because we don't want it super spicy. There we go. And then we're going to put some garlic in here. And I already have some. Now you can grate up your own garlic, but I already have this where it's chopped. So we're going to use that. And we like quite a bit of garlic, so I'm going to put quite a bit of garlic in there. And so we're just going to let that just kind of heat up until you start smelling the spices in it. They'll start to become fragrant, and the garlic will become a little bit translucent, and that's what you're looking for. All right, so this is starting to, you can smell it now. You can smell the garlic and the spices being infused in the oil. So what I'm gonna do is, I have a couple of quarts of homemade tomato sauce. Now my tomato sauce was a little bit, it wasn't as thick as I wanted it to be. So I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do with that to thicken it up. But I'm gonna go ahead and put these in here. And I didn't pressure can these, or I didn't water bath these, because I knew I was going to use them, and I only had just these 3 jars of it. So we're going to put this in here. And it's pretty runny, and I want a thicker sauce. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Thrive tomato powder, so you can see that there, and I'm just going to put several spoonfuls of it in there to thicken this sauce up. And put as many in as to taste. Now, if you have regular tomato sauce that isn't as thin as mine is, you won't have to do this, and you can just use tomato paste. But this is going to help thicken up the sauce and kind of take the place of the tomato paste. All right, so I had to add some more crushed tomatoes to it because we are actually doubling this recipe so we can do it as a freezer meal. And the pot that I had was not big enough to put all of that in here. So we had to change out pots. All right, so we are now going to put our onions, peppers, garlic, and sausage into our tomato sauce and let it cook. And we're going to give it about probably half hour, 20 minutes cooking in that sauce, just to let the flavors kind of meld together. So Max is our master stirrer. And so we've got the tomato sauce there, and then behind him we've got the pot of water boiling for the rigatoni. In the tomato sauce, after we tasted it, don't stick that spoon back in there after you licked on it.
I didn't, I just...
No.
That's what love is, guys.
No.
It's when you lick the spoon and then you put it back in. That's what it means
when it's made with love.
When it's made with love.
No. Okay, so we added a little bit of sugar to take the tartness of the tomato away, and a little bit of salt to our sauce, and then we added salt to the water, the pasta water, because you don't want to just cook it in regular water because your pasta won't have any flavor. So our pasta water is boiling, and Max is going to go ahead and put the rigatoni in there. And the package says to cook them for 13 to 15 minutes. We're going to cook them for about 11 because they're going to cook in the sauce in the oven. So you don't want super mushy pasta. All right, so now we're making kind of the filling that, since this is going to be baked, it's almost like a lasagna filling. So Miles is cracking eggs and he's slightly beating them. Katie is going to put in, not the Star Wars figure, but she's going to put in the Parmesan cheese, the Italian seasoning, and the cottage cheese. And then Jack is going to crumble up the goat cheese and put it in there. So go ahead and do it, guys.
So this. Oh gosh, that's really gloopy.
And you can use ricotta cheese for this, and I know probably most Italian cooks would use ricotta cheese, but for us, it was just more economical to use the cottage cheese.
Okay, so what's the next ingredient?
So, Miles, yours goes in next. Your egg goes in next. Your egg goes in.
Plop.
There you go.
Okay, next.
Doesn't that look yummy?
The goat cheese goes in next.
Yeah, those two cheeses go in.
Crumble up the you have to crumble it, bud.
Whoa.
Just crumble it up.
That's like cream cheese,
yeah.
but it's from a goat.
Pepper though.
So Katie is mixing it up, and Miles is going to get the salt and pepper for her. So we're going to just put a little bit of salt and pepper in it to season it. So we've got the salt and pepper going in. I think that's good, Kate. While Max is stirring the noodles, we're going to make this extra yummy. I have got the heat turned off on this, and now we're going to add some heavy cream to this to give it just a really good flavor. Go, Max, go! Mix in that heavy cream. It is hot. All right, so now we're going to take our noodles and we're going to put them into our pasta sauce and just stir that up. All right, so we're going to ladle now this into our pans, and we're going to layer it. So we're going to do a layer of the sauce with the noodles, and then with a layer of the cheese. All right, so Kate is getting ready to put her no-knead rosemary garlic bread into the pan. And then this has got to raise again, right?
Yeah, for 30 minutes.
For 30 minutes. So we're going to have this with this right here.
It was very garlicky smelling.
It is very garlicky smelling, which is awesome. So.
I probably should have floured my hands before I did this.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's all right.
Kate is going to put cheese on top of it. And one of these, this one here is going to go in the freezer. And then this one is going to go in the oven for dinner tonight. All right, for the one that we're going to eat tonight, we're actually going to snip some fresh basil to go on top of it. But the one that we're putting in the freezer, we'll do that after we get ready to cook it on another day. So the fresh basil won't go on that one because when it freezes, it'll kind of turn like a brown color, and we don't want that. We have covered this, and we're going to bake it for about 30 to 35 minutes. All right, so our rigatoni is done and out of the oven. Katie is slicing the bread, and we're going to get ready for dinner. So there we go. That is our 4-cheese sausage rigatoni bake. And we're going to give it a try because it looks awesome. It's hot. It just came out of the oven though. Oh, it's so good. So good.
It's really good.
And then we have Katie's rosemary garlic skillet bread to go with it. Oh my gosh, that's so good. All right.
So good.
So make sure that you like and subscribe. Leave your comments down below. And check us out on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. And more updates as we go. Bye. Bye.